and this is Space Pod.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right, I'll try that again. Welcome to Space Pod, an intergalactic artist experience.
See, it's getting better every time, but I still feel like we can brainstorm. I can do one off the top of the head. Yeah. Again, just like make people feel a little more comfortable, you know? So why don't we try something like Space Pod. It is, you get what you get. Like, just like straight. You get, whatever you came here for, that's what you're getting.
Hey, it's not bad.
It's getting worse every time I try.
Every guest likes yours. All the time. Well, on that note, let's introduce our guest today. We got a very special guest. We got Max Wells in the building. Woo!
Hey.
Welcome, dude.
How are you guys?
We're great.
Well, actually, we'll have to hold on to the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Better
gonna
now?
get some better stands.
Yeah,
these days,
we'll step it up. But everyone will see our evolution, you know? We
Yeah, it's
kinda
part of the
go with
process.
the flow. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Like, our, whole thing is to show the process of everything. So, welcome, Maxwell's. How are you feeling today? Tell us a bit about yourself.
What day? Today's Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm good.
Tuesday.
I've this week's been kind of like off to a good start so far. I've been pretty busy, but I don't know, it's good. I can't complain. It's like the weather's kind of cooling down a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and like I'm able to wear this without fucking blasting my AC on in my car.
Yeah.
The fall
I'm
vibes
good,
have come.
Yeah, we're both from, like, the northern sides of things, so we like the cold as well.
Yeah, y'all know how it
fan.
is.
It's like cozy. It's holiday season.
Right?
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
almost Crimbus.
For real.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, why don't we? So Maxwell's artist, musician, just a really genuine dude. Lover of the earth, lover
And
of
all
the
things.
herb.
Oh, in all things.
And
and
he's a genuine guy, which is so hard to find in LA. We first did a music video with you back in July, I think it was.
Yeah, I think July it was July. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was like
It was like the first one back from quarantine. Really.
yeah, like either late June or early July. One of the
Yeah,
two.
and it was great. We got to just really create art together with
Yeah.
run around LA and just I don't know create. I loved it because it was like the whole meaning of the song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was crazy because I had written a treatment and then you had talked to me about like what it meant to you and everything,
Right,
and they
right.
aligned so perfectly.
Yeah, I know.
So,
That's what was cool about it too, because like right when you said, I remember I was like, I kind of lagged a little bit on sending the treatment. I was like, I'll send it to you, and then you must have already wrote your own. And then when I sent it, you were like, yo, that's like the same shit. I think you said the same thing too. You're like, it's so
yeah,
it was cool, and it came out cool too. It's like, it's fun. That's what I was telling you guys when like working with new people. It's always interesting to see how you're gonna mesh, because just because you're working with someone doesn't mean you're gonna mesh, you know, or that your idea is gonna be like parallel.
yeah.
So it's always fun when you do have an idea and then you are able to actually execute it how you planned and saw it like in your head.
Definitely.
yeah,
You know?
totally,
Yeah, it was fun.
yeah,
Yeah, I was a big fan. Yeah, it's cool because like a lot of the times we say, it's one thing to like do a music video with an artist and they have like a decent song or like, and then they're like a okay person. But when you have somebody, everyone we've worked with, you're all amazing people. But when you have somebody who like genuinely you just love the music before you even meet them, and that's always a thing because when you're editing for hours, you have to hear the song over and over again. So when it's a banger, that's always appreciated. And then when you meet the person and they're cool as fuck and they don't have like a big old ego or they're not just like themselves, like I felt like the whole time we were just having like really cool conversations. And, like,
Exactly. It was like a whole
Yeah.
experience. It wasn't just like we were there working,
Yeah.
and we were getting work done, but it was fun. And at the end of the day, it wasn't like exhausted, I mean,
yeah.
it it was just good. It was, you know, it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and we ended with the night scenes. You know,
Uh-huh.
had some White Claws going.
Yeah.
Had you shivering? You were.
Oh
For
yeah, we had
real.
you in the pool,
I
then
don't
by the
even-
fire.
It was summer. I don't know why it was so cold, but
I
y'all
think
remember
it was the pool. It must have
was
been.
cold that night.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was crazy.
We like
was
didn't get hot
freezing.
weather until actually I don't know. So tell us a little bit about like how you started and you know how you've kind of arrived at this moment in your life.
Man, it seems like forever ago. Honestly, like it seems like it's been like a whole odyssey at this
Wow.
point. But all right, so it pretty much was like in high school. I'll just say that. Like it was in high school, right? That my mom had got a computer, or it might have been like middle school or the summer going to high school or something like that. But she got a computer that had GarageBand and stuff on it. So I started fucking around with that. I started like writing little songs, doing little freestyles and shit like that, just for fun, you know. And kind of just continued to do that for a few years, like all through high school. Like I never really called myself an artist. I didn't really think of myself as someone who was like making music. I literally just saw something fun and then like would hear instrumental beats on YouTube and then just think, you know, I would like write like just little things. I don't know. It was almost like I was trying to tell stories or something, or just let feelings out and express myself, you know. And it was really fun. And I did that for a while, like pretty much all through high school. And then I started, like, as I got in high school, I started to realize that I was like, oh, if I spend a little bit of money and like go to like a studio, you know, or go to like the local person and make a song, I can actually make like a song, you know. And that's when I learned like, okay, it's more than just like doing little freestyles and stuff. There's actually more to it. You don't have to go to some huge studio, you know, because I had really no idea about the process or anything like that. But I guess like fast forward like a few years, like I kind of was experimenting, still trying to just make music for fun, and then realizing I could. Up until I think I was about 20, so this was about 5 years ago, or when this happened was probably like 4.5 years ago, maybe like 2021. I was in college, and that shit was not cutting it. Like I was very bad at school to begin with, and it was just not, I was not doing well at all. Like they were like, hey, we're about to like kick you out if you don't do better next semester. And then I didn't do better the next semester, you know. So I kind of had some decisions to make, and at this point I was like recording pretty often. Like, you know, I had evolved like into learning how to do it myself, and was just making songs in my room, but kind of gaining like a little bit of a following while doing that, you know. So it was something that at that point I was kind of just in school because that's what was to do next. And then like after that, like after I was kind of faced with something, I had a conversation with my mom, and she was like, you have to do something. Like you have to figure out what you want to do. You're doing this music. If you want to do this music, go ahead and do that shit, because you can do it, but you have to like really do it. You can't just be sitting here like thinking you're doing it and not putting the songs out and stuff like that, because I wasn't really releasing much. Like I said, the following I was getting was like off of typical like local stuff, where it was literally just like, oh yeah, he's the rapper, like, because you know where I'm from, it's not like in Indiana, there's not really many people who are doing stuff like that. So it was people like, yeah, he's the artist, he's the rapper, he's the dude making songs. You know, I only had a few songs out, you know. But then I just fucking grinded, honestly. From that moment with that conversation with my mom, I grinded.
Shout out mom.
For real.
Fire.
Oh yeah.
That's fire.
Yeah, like she's a very big component in like me being here, honestly, because she pushed me to do that, you know. And then I had an opportunity to move to Texas, and this was probably like a year after that conversation with my mom, maybe like a year and a half. And my following was kind of growing more. I was getting more of an internet presence, and that's when I really discovered like the SoundCloud stuff, and like Facebook was really popping for that scene back then, and like Twitter, stuff like that, you know. And I was starting to meet people who now weren't just local people, and I was like, I want to move to a bigger city. I want to move to a city and like try to like go meet people, because I was like a very sociable person, so I always wanted to like, it was always easy for me to like go up in front of people or go talk to people or go, you know, just mingle with different people and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm from this somewhat like small town, I want to go see what it's like around a bunch of people. And then, I had an opportunity, moved to Austin, Texas, and really got blessed with just countless opportunities after that. I was like opening for a lot of the shows and a lot of the big acts that would come through Austin because I had gotten in with a couple promoters down there. So then that was like a whole different step, because that was like a transition from being just someone who's like releasing. At this point, I think SoundCloud was like my main thing that I was releasing on YouTube and SoundCloud, and I had done a couple shows at like local bars and stuff like that, but not for any crowds,
Right.
And then, I moved down to Austin, and I got put on one show, and then from there, like, because I was like a new face in Austin. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Austin, Texas, but it's like, that's like probably my favorite city in the U.S. And
Never been.
it's just because of how open it is, honestly. And there might be some awesome people who watch this that will hate me saying that because like I'm not from there. So it was really interesting because I had never been to like such an open and accepting community to someone new. You know how there's like most like that, like, oh, like they're a local shit, or like they're not a local, they're not from there. Like they didn't care. The people in Austin just want good stuff. Like they just want good art.
Cool.
They want to see new things. They want to see cool like new cool stuff. So that really just, I know I'm really going on a tangent.
No,
and
that's what it is.
But like once I was there, and like once I was in Texas and I was really doing those shows, I started doing little things in LA. Like I booked a couple shows myself, and like put a bunch of my friends on it and stuff. I think this was like, we'll go back to, I think the first one was it was like the end of 2017. So, or I think it was like October or something of like 2017, and I put a show together with a couple friends here in LA. Like we booked out a venue and stuff like that, did the whole promotion thing, and like had like a ton of people on it. I think we did 2 or 3 of those, and by us doing that, everything else like online was kind of also bubbling, and like this little, like, it was like a sub little community of like the underground community, and like it was really just bubbling. And then people started moving out here. Like a couple of the friends would like move out here. They would come stay out here for a big extended period of time. And I had some family out here. It was like some pretty distant family, but I always like kept up with. And every time I would come out here, we'd always link and smoke and just chill. And then finally he was like, yo, you should just move here. Like you should just come. And I was like, at this time I had like a pretty good job in Austin. I was working like in an office. I was working at eBay.
Oh wow.
No way.
Yeah, and that's how I was funding everything, and like being able to come out to LA. And that was like the first and only real job that I had, where like it was really cool, and I was getting paid like a decent amount of money, but it was like so taxing. Like that shit was crazy. Yeah. But I had that job at the time, so I didn't really know how I was gonna do it, because he really wanted me to move, and I was like, why do you want me to move here so bad? Like, I understand it's the place to be, but like how? Like what am I gonna go there and get? Like what kind of job am I gonna get? How am I gonna, But like, long story short, even though it's been kind of long already, I did move out here. I like, so as he was proposing me to move out here, right? I had that job still, like I said, but I was like performing bad. Like my performance was going like this, because it was in like a customer service call center. So you know how, I don't know if y'all have ever done that, but it's like, you have to keep your shit up. You have to keep like your numbers up, like your reviews and your call times and like all this different shit, right? And my shit was falling, like it was falling a little bit. And my manager had sat me down and he was like, hey, you like either are gonna want to quit, or like you really got to get your stuff up, because I don't want to fire you. But then I had talked to like my coworker, who was like this like way older lady. She was like an OG at the company and had worked there for like 20 years or something. And she pulled me aside and she was like, nah, let them fire you and then you'll get unemployment. And I had no idea. I had no idea about unemployment ever. Like I didn't even know. You know, I'd worked in restaurants only, so I was like, what is this unemployment she's talking about? Because I had worked there for like a year or something like that. And I looked into it, and then I realized that sorry, let me turn this off. I realized that I would like, if I got fired, I would have a big unemployment to come to me, you know, and that shit would last me like 9 months or something like that. So that's exactly what I did, and I took that shit.
Did you like have to do? Did you just kept doing worse, or like how did you get them?
So it was like right on the line, and then I had a conversation with him too. My manager, even though he was trying to get me to quit, like I said, because that's like his job to keep, because the company doesn't want to pay the unemployment, you know. Right. So when I talked to him though, and I told him like everything, and I was like, yo, I like kind of would need to like get let go. Like that's really the only way that this would make sense. Otherwise I'm fucked, like just in general, because I was gonna lose my job and I wouldn't have it. And then I was like, so realistically, what if I perform bad? Like what if I perform like the same way for like another week? He's like I was like, would I like fuck myself? Like would that be a negative let go? And he was like, nah, that would just be like me courteously letting you go. So, you know, once I talked to him, it was like he kind of knew. I didn't straight up tell him what I was doing, but I kind of hinted at it, and he knew what I was getting at, you know. And like he knew I made music. He knew like that I wasn't really focused on that anyway. So like he was kind of lenient to begin with. So I think at the end he kind of was just like, all right, you're clearly not gonna like get your shit together because you don't even want to be here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So then I moved to LA. That was like what, 3 years ago, and it's been like a grind ever since then.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's the shit, dude. You had the stars align in a couple places, which is just super dope.
And I feel like the main underlying thing is like community and family. That like
hugely,
you know, because like you being able to meet people and put yourself out there and build that community wherever you went, and then followed you here, you know, I feel like that is like the main thing. And then having family out here and stuff, so that's incredible.
Yeah, because then like the family, and that's the thing you say about community, like the people I have around me, I owe everything to the people around me. Like seriously, like I can't even sit on here and like lie at all. Like the people that I have been so blessed with that are in my life, like I couldn't even, I could try for the rest of today to put in words, but I couldn't, because like it's interesting when you operate like in a way of when you really are aware of the people around you, and you're able to maneuver in a way of when you're going to cut the people out that are like negatively holding like any kind of presence there. Crazy things will happen, you know, like it's just crazy, because that's like a thing too, is that like even to add on to like my story of like me moving to LA, like my cousin, he looked out for me, but then like it was ultimately like my really good friend who I still live with today, like that was 3 years ago. You know, we all met on the internet, we met on SoundCloud, you know, and like we were grinding like super super hard, all just next to each other, trying to see, you know, what we could do. And we all just ended up moving into a house together, and now like I still live with two of them, two of like the 4 people that we moved with.
That's rad. Yeah, I feel like when you like listen to your gut and like recognize bad energy and recognize good energy, like when you kind of move past people or move past a place, like an environment or a situation or a job, you're just opening the space for those good things to come. So like when you're like, all right, I'm gonna drop out of college, this is gonna be scary, but then it's like it's gonna present you, the universe is gonna present you with what is gonna fill that space, because you're following like the divine path, like right in front of you. Same with like, I'm gonna leave this job and I'm not gonna have this money, but then it's like, no, it's you're good, like I got you.
Exactly.
It's gonna present you with people, but you also have to be open to it and be aware of it, because then you could take that step and then be like, I want to do this on my own. Fuck this. Like, I don't need these people.
Mhm.
I don't need it. Instead of being like, yo, like, you know, linking up with people on SoundCloud. Like, you not only have to trust your gut and take that like risky step, you also have to like be ready to invite what the good is.
Yeah, you do. You have to like, that's the thing too, is that like a lot of, I've just learned that too, like you know, as I can say I'm blessed with the people in my life, I'm also blessed with the people I was raised by, you know, and I feel like that actually has a lot to do with now being able to be aware of things like that, you know, like earlier we said like, oh, shout out mom, like that's some real shit, you know, because like that, like you don't realize it when you're young, you don't realize it when you're a kid and you're like looking at your parents and they're just your fucking parents, you know, like they're supposed to, you know, like they're supposed to do the things that they do, you know, like, so, you know, just looking at that in general is like, I feel like that, you know, it kind of conditions you, like if you have a positive like relationship or just anything positive to see like that, whether it's your parents or just anyone around you, you know, whether it's family or not, that's just, I don't know, it allows you to be accepting, because that's the thing too, is that the older I get, the more people I meet, especially being out in LA. Like, I'm not trying to be one of those people who's like, yeah, LA is just full of all these shallow people, because it is, but there's also like, I don't even know how many millions of people here, you know. You just gotta find, you gotta you know, you gotta, like, kind of like you said, like, you just have to find like your people, and it's hard to be super accepting like that, because you have to have thick skin, and you have to be able to be like, even when there's things that make you want to keep people around, if you know in your gut you shouldn't, you have to be able to do that. And that's something about LA, just not even to digress too much, but that's something that's kind of interesting about it, is that you'll see people will put themselves through certain things because of the people that keep around. Like, they'll know that they shouldn't have someone around, but they'll do it because of how things are. Or just, you know, because of how they think things are, you know. And then there's like this illusion of fame and stuff like that. That's a whole different conversation.
No, we were just talking about that in the last podcast. Like, it all depends on who's around you, and it takes time to like weed people out and figure out like what you need in your life. And it's hard. It's like breaking up, especially when you're in the same city. Like, you literally have to like break up with people like that are friends, and be like, hey, this isn't good for me anymore.
Right.
And then once you find people that really care for you, that's when, for me, like when I found Jordan, I was like, oh, that's how I could be treated. Like, and then I was like, okay, like now I need to rearrange everything, because you hold yourself up to a higher standard now, you know? Yeah, that's beautiful.
Definitely. Well, sweet. That was a beautiful first half. Let's take a little quick break. Here's some sponsors, maybe some music, and we'll be right back.
She hate when I come in late. I don't want to make another mistake. We go on and don't know breaks. I don't wanna wake up to this one more time. I know you already got my your day. Always I go so far out of my way. Drag me on for making all the mistakes that I made yesterday, but I do what I can.
We're back.
We're back after the commercial break.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense, like when because you're like supporting other artists, and you're both winning from supporting each other.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
that's a mutual
working
thing.
with other people, other starting artists. Anyways, cool. Let's chat about your kind of quarantine last few months, and what that's.
Oh, I was listening to the microphone like, yo, this is hissing. What is going on? This is going to explode.
Yo. That's why. You sure you aren't the one who hit this shit?
What'd you say?
Are you sure you aren't the one who hit this shit?
No, I know. I hit it right before. That's so funny.
This is, by the way, this is not a jewel. This is a stizzy. Okay? Not a jewel.
You heard it here.
This is not a jewel. The people have to know.
So during quarantine, like the last few months, I guess it's kind of been like 6 months now. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Like, what has your life been like? Has there been new projects? What has kept your mind sane? Jinx.
Wow.
I know that was a lot.
That was fire. No, it was fire how y'all were in sync like that.
We do that. We finish each other's sentences.
I'm gonna be honest. It's been pretty normal though. Like, and that's I don't know how many people y'all have asked this question, but that's kind of the life of an artist, low key. Like,
Yep.
um, I was supposed to be doing a lot of shows though, so that was gonna be a change from my last like year or so, because I spent a lot of 2019 actually out of LA. I know that's for like a different question, but like I wasn't really doing any shows, no live stuff in 2019. Yeah, it's like last year.
Yeah.
This year I was supposed to, I did a couple things early in the year, but that was like it, so it's just been a lot of me. I think what I've been doing now this quarantine is there's been a lot of new projects, but not necessarily things that I'm like focused on, if that makes sense. It's been a whole lot of nothingness. I haven't been too inspired. Like I know I'm probably like underselling what I've been working on a lot right now.
Same.
You know what I'm saying?
have
Like
some.
I'm not trying to be like, oh, it all sucks,
Yeah.
but I just have been just like, I spent a lot of it in a rut or thinking I was in a rut, and I wasn't really in a rut. My inspiration was like, I was used to pulling it from the spot of just seeing things and being places and experiencing things and stuff like that. And I've lived, I really have lived, and I've gone through a lot. So I spent the first half of it kind of going in my head, figuring out how to like tap into the things I've already been through, the things I've already gone through that still need to be talked about,
Right.
because there's so many things that we go through as people, so I don't know. It's been really good though. Like, at the end of the day, I thought I was kind of going like in a little bit of a depressive state because I was really just like, I was being like oddly reclusive. Like I found myself not really, like, I could go a couple days without leaving the house, and that was really not typical of me. But then that was like at the very beginning though, when I was like kind of freaked out
Like,
and
what is this?
really
Yeah.
just so confused and just like baffled that this shit was happening. But yeah, a lot went down though. Like, I moved places. That was interesting. And I moved from Hollywood to Long Beach. So that's like a whole new creative space. So like, I don't know. Did I answer the question? Like, it's been
No,
been weird though.
Yeah.
100%.
I think that's like the main thing too. Like, that's, and everyone could agree. Like, it's just like, you can't let the external completely define what's going on. And especially as artists, it's like, hey, cool, this is a time to create. But at the same time, the overarching like feeling and aura around is just like, what is happening? And it's just weird, so it's hard to pull all the inspiration from external things constantly.
Yeah, I mean, and also like, with that being said, even if you're not someone who goes out constantly or is like partying or like, like going to all these events, like just the energy alone in California, Los Angeles, I bet Long Beach is similar. Like, there's just an energy. You just walk outside, there's an energy. Like, you go to one thing and you have one night out and you talk to people. There's just like this, like,
it's there.
Yeah. And so when that kind of is gone, LA almost feels like weird. Like, it
does.
Because that's what LA is. It's not necessarily like, I mean, of course, it's like the beautiful ocean and palm trees and all that stuff. But when you're not going to the ocean and you're staying inside, it's like, okay, I could be back home in Indiana, I could be back home where I'm from, and it'd be a similar energy. So that alone, I feel like it was a big effect on a lot of artists, and I'm guessing was similar to you.
No, it was. And and I think too with me, like I said kind of earlier, like I'm a pretty extroverted person. Like, I do spend a decent amount of time, like when I work, a lot of times I am alone, but in between that, I spend a lot of time with other people, like getting ideas. Like, for instance, like producers. Like, I may not record the song with a producer, but I may go to 3 or 4 different of my homies, who are producers' houses throughout the week, and just sit there and make beats with them, and then I have a bunch of shit to go record, and like, I know that it's easy, and like, it's just like how it always has been for people emailing beats and stuff like that, and just like working that way through text and stuff. But when you're doing it all by yourself always, and then you also don't have like the like time really, or like or not really time, but you don't, when you're doing it all by yourself and then you don't have the people around to necessarily, they don't, not for like the instant gratification as much as just like the acceptance of being like, hey, like, is this a vibe or
yeah,
because you don't, you don't always need to ask someone. Like 90% of the songs I make, I don't give a fuck what the other person is about to say.
Yeah.
If I like it, then that's what's gonna happen with it, But sometimes it is nice though to be like, all right, from the outside, what do you think of this? Like, you haven't even heard the beat, you haven't heard shit. This is you hearing a song for the first time.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice to have that. And because of this quarantine, we're not seeing people as much, and just since the pandemic in general, it's different. But I don't know. Overall, things could be way worse.
Oh,
like I know that's even like diving into another side of it, but I make art, like, and like I use my voice, and like luckily that hasn't been taken from me, like, just so I just am like blessed, and I've said that probably like 50 times already, but just really, really grateful that I'm able to like manage, because I do have friends and I do have peers that like were working in the restaurant industry or were working a job where they had to be around people all the time. They still don't have a job. Like, and like they're on unemployment, not because they're finessing the government. They're on unemployment because they need to pay rent. Like, so.
I feel like one of the things that is inspiring to us when we like look at you is just how you treat the earth in general, like in all ways, so do you feel like how you see the world and how you treat the earth, from literally every single thing to every being, like, do you think that affects your overall mood to be able to be like, hey, I'm grateful,
Definitely.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I think it has like almost everything to do with it, honestly, and then that even goes back to then how I was raised and the things I saw growing up and the things I was like conditioned to appreciate, because you could be having a really, really bad day, and then, but like we live in LA, right? Look out the window at like 5:30.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just if you do, like, it doesn't rain here, so there's never clouds, like just in general. And then like if there are, then they're just as beautiful as the sunset that's there too. That's just something really simple, like, kind of like a little simple analogy, but
people forget it. Like, they forget to do that, and then it's like there's so much beauty everywhere to just snap you out of realizing like you're way smaller than you think, or that problem is way smaller than you think.
Way smaller. And then that kind of just leads into overall, kind of to like wrap the question up, what you said is that like what I said was just a visual thing, when you look and you're able to like really look at it, like I'm so fascinated, and like when I'm in airplanes and I see like all the how everything is and all the columns and everything, how everything is structured, and you see how small the cars look and stuff. To me, I'm just like, yo, we didn't ask for any of this, like, and especially for us growing up in America, just in general, like, there's a bunch of shit, especially right now, that we could talk about America, but I'm talking about specifically the structure, you know what I'm saying, of just being like, I don't know, I grew up in the middle of America in the suburbs, so I think just being able to have the opportunity to do that is like, it's crazy. Like, and then we have the internet too, and then I think the internet helps people forget, but then for people like me who are aware, it almost makes you see it even more, and then you're exposed to it, and you're like, yo, we didn't ask for this, we didn't choose to be right here, and when you wake up and there's a bunch of problems going on, but then the top thing in your head is that we're here and we didn't choose it, and you look up and there's a roof over your head, that overtakes it, it doesn't matter what else is going on, and like that's a really optimistic way to look at shit, and I understand that too, and I also I hate that fake positive shit too, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that can be toxic in its own way. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I want to stress that because like I feel like in the past I wasn't very I wasn't comfortable showing each side of my emotions. So I found myself like really being this like positive thing that I thought was really positive that was actually just bringing people down because it was so like your problems don't matter, blah 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 blah. And that's not how I was thinking it, but I realized that's how I was, you know, portraying it a little bit. And you know, I just had to, I don't know, like people don't look at stuff in the same way always, you know, so you have to kind of put into words that make sense, I guess.
Yeah.
And
that's it. Like, that's something I could relate to too, because when I started finding yoga and finding just love for life and positivity, like all I wanted to do was share it and express it and be like, look at this, and like, don't worry, like, look at this. And I was like, okay, that's not the way to do it. It's great in like spurts, but like I genuinely was like, when I had a revelation or something, I just wanted to share it because I was like, I don't want this just for me. I want to express it, you know. But like you said, like my whole thing too was never like, it's not all positive, it's not all great, but the lessons I've learned that has helped me move through the bad to find the good, like, looks like, oh, it's all positive, but I'm like, you don't see what I go through to get to that positive. You don't see my breakdowns or my like hard whole day that I'm crying and journaling and then to find that revelation. So like, how do you show both? Or like, you know, just I just feel like the more you're so genuine, so everything comes across genuine. There's people that will just be like, be happy today or whatever, positivity, and you could read right through that when it's not genuine, you know.
Because at the same time, like I feel like positive and negative get paired with like positive, happy, negative, sad, mad. But like in general, being, and
it's
this is gonna sound so existential and stuff, but like for real, like being a human being with the ability to feel a range of emotions and like experience life through this lens, that shit is what fucks me up all the time. Where I'm like, yeah, I might be sad right now, but like, I get to be sad. I get to feel lost because like I get to feel sad because I care about this, or
because
like,
you care,
and like when you are found, when you do feel happiness, I feel like you can't.
You deserve that happiness, and
it's like, and you don't know what that feeling is if you don't feel the other feeling.
Exactly. So I think at the end of the day, like just being aware of your surroundings and like how crazy this whole like experience of life is just like is like in my head like the only way you should experience life. Like
you
if you kind of just close off and you only feed yourself like distractions, and I know it's hard, it's easy, I distract myself all the time, but then like especially with Angelica being around, reminding me like to allow myself to feel things and to like go through the steps to like to learn and just constantly be aware. Like it might be feel harder, but it's so much more rewarding and it's so much more of an experience because we only have one version of this life.
Seriously.
So we might as well like dive as fucking deep as we can into it.
Like when I feel like I'm like in a really low point or like really going through something, it's like the other side of it is when I actually am growing the most. And I look back at those times that I was like, you know, going through it, and then those are the times that I have like the biggest breakthroughs. But you don't see it until like you look back.
Because while you're experiencing it, it's
you're
hell.
just in it. Yeah.
No, I already know.
Life's dope. Let's go some a little.
This is a cartoon.
Yeah. So, which is funny because.
So weird, it was shining on your
Oh yeah, it's been doing that.
Fire. That's fire.
You actually, this is funny because you just had two different animated music videos or like even animated snippets come out. So go check those out. But if you little plug, if you were a cartoon in real life, who or what would it be and why?
Damn, you can't ask me that.
You have so many. You don't have to. It can be one of the ones you thought of. Or
all right, one of them that I've always y'all about to think is fried, but I think in one reality I'm the my leg dude in SpongeBob. Like my leg. Yeah, I don't know why. I think ever since I was a kid, I was just like, yo, he had like one scene, you know, and he really showed out.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
But yeah, he's
Had a
one.
connection to him.
I don't know why he's the first one. Like you may have to cut it up and rearrange it because that's fried for the first one. But
Dude, if you really zoom out from that though, that's the like reality. Like he had one moment
yeah,
in this huge show, and everyone remembers him. That's
real.
what you get in this life, because we're not the main character that everyone believes, but
Real
you
shit.
have a moment in this time to be the my
you gotta
leg
use
guy,
it, yeah.
or you aren't, or you're just the guy walking by. You got to
Bro,
be the
real
my
shit.
leg guy.
I didn't even look at it like
That's
that.
so
Yeah.
deep.
I didn't.
That's
Yeah.
deep.
So maybe
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Yep. That one.
I'm the main character.
I'm SpongeBob.
Yo, I really wanted to be fucking Timmy Turner though. Who didn't though?
No, 100%.
You know, like bro, he had fairly. Is it fairy?
Godparents.
Fairy?
Fairly?
It's Fairly Odd Parents, but he had fairy god.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's so fire. And every time like they ask, "Where'd you get that?" Internet. Like every time.
That's awesome.
Yo.
Those are great.
Damn. Can you tell that I watch Nickelodeon though? Like that was my shit. I didn't
Oh,
watch.
yeah.
I didn't really watch Cartoon Network or like what's the other one? The other cartoon channel.
I
Wait,
grew up
why
with
can't I
Canada,
think
so
about
it's
it?
different.
Nickelodeon,
Damn.
I don't even know.
Cartoon Network. I mean, there's like PBS and like where like Arthur and stuff was.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of little ones, but Nick and Cartoon Network were the big bangers.
Oh, yo, also Gerald from Hey Arnold
Yeah.
with the
I
flat top.
loved Hey
Hell
Arnold.
yeah.
Hey
That
Arnold
was
was
the best.
fire.
He's
yeah.
a man.
Yeah.
Or Recess. Did you guys watch
Yeah.
Recess?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
The Ashleys.
Yeah.
I could have a whole podcast about cartoons. That's
Yeah.
like big part of it. It's
For real.
cartoons, 100%.
I was just like not forced, but my brothers would just always take control.
turn it
of
on.
You know, I had two older brothers.
Yeah.
Oh
Little
yeah.
sister.
Yeah.
It
I
was
already
like,
know.
wake up at 5 a.m. to watch Power Rangers, else you're a loser. And I'm like, okay.
That's
I
fire.
love it. So, what? Do you have any like shit coming up? Like,
oh, wait, no, I have
oh,
one more
one more.
question. We need to do a lyric deep dive.
Oh yes.
Oh shit. Let's go.
So sometimes we choose them, but I feel like it'd be good if you can choose whatever. So it could be a lyric, a phrase, just a part of a song that you want to explain or feel connected to bring to light.
You said you normally choose it, but you want me to choose it.
Yeah.
This is hard. There's a lot of lyrics and lines out there.
The first
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, I know.
The
Yeah,
first
yeah.
thing that comes to your head.
Yo, because we're on the topic, I just think of beside myself, you know, like that song, I wrote that at this point it was like a little bit over a year ago. So I think I wrote that of like August of 2019, and I had just like the reason it came about was I had just like called my mom and pretty much was like in tears, like, and I was so lost, like I felt so lost at the moment. I didn't really like, this was a time where like I said I would get into how I left LA for a year. Like I've been here for like 3 years, but then I left for like most of 2019. And 2019 was when I was making a lot of music, but I also was going to New York a lot, so I was spending a ton of time in New York, and I was working out there, but not how, like, it wasn't, how do I explain it? It wasn't very productive. Does that make sense? Like, I was supposed to be, and I was doing shit where like I was getting stuff done, I thought, but then it like didn't end up being as useful as I wanted it to. You know, it was different. It was just like kind of like an experimental year. But I was like, when I went back, I was like staying with my grandparents. So that's where I had all my studio stuff, was at my grandparents. I was staying in their extra bedroom. And this one night I was just up there. I had got done working in my uncle's shop for some extra money. He owns like a car detailing company. So I was detailing cars, vacuuming the fucking carpets, shampooing them and shit like that, buffing out the scratches. Like
I worked at a car dealership.
Oh,
too.
so you already know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like luxury detailing, you know? So it's like really super detail oriented, and I'm not good at that. Like I'm really not, you know? So it was kind of frustrating. I was doing the whole, it was like 9 a.m. to like 7 p.m. at night. And then I would get home, go to my grandparents, you know, talk to them for a little bit, go upstairs and make music. And this night, I think it was like on a Saturday. So I didn't work that day, but I was not happy with anything I was making, like music wise. I was so just like, what the fuck is the point of this? And then I started going through demos that night and just getting so upset for some reason. I didn't really know. And I don't think I was actually upset at the music when I look back at it. I think it was more where my head was and like where I was trying to do, and then like how directionless I felt, you know, because the music, I ended up still releasing a lot of that music, you know. I just didn't see it as that at the time.
Yeah.
And it's some of my favorite music, you know. It was weird. So I was going through everything, and then eventually called my mom, right? Like it was bare bottom, or like I sent her a text first and I was like, yo, could I really do this shit? Like, do you really think I can do this shit? Like, honestly, like, I know I'm your son, but like, is this shit working? Like, and not even in a sense of being like, can you evaluate my career? But it more was in a sense of like, is my shit even good? Like, am I even an artist? You know? And like, I think she was like, she sent back like, ha ha ha, or something like that. Like, she literally was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then I called her and was like, nah, like, I know you're being sarcastic, but I'm not. Like, I'm super serious, like not in a good headspace right now. Can you talk to me? And she was like, listen, it's always been the same. It's always been the same, you know? And she was like, if you don't believe in yourself, nothing's really going to happen.
Yeah.
You know? And she was like, don't stress yourself out about making art. Like, you make art when you sleep. You just got to remember to put it on paper when you wake up.
Well, that was good. Come on, mama.
But hold up. As you say, okay, mama, I kind of came up with that analogy in my head, so I can't give my mom that. I can't give her the full analogy but that's what she said, you know, like she was like, listen, you just do it. You do it. That's what you do, you know? So at the end of the day, I was like, okay, like I kind of got like, I was like, okay, you're right. But at the same time, like, this shit sucks. This music I just made sucks. So what are you talking about? And who are you to say, you know, like it was almost like one of those things of now I was now fighting against it. And I'm getting to beside myself. I'm almost there.
No, keep it. This is great.
But I was like at that point fighting myself because I just went to the one person who I always go to about shit like that, you know, and that's why I went to her. You know, I could have went to anyone else, but I went to her because I wanted her to really tell me how it is, because she always does. But then she told me how it is, and I didn't like her answer. So you know, I'm fighting with it in my head, and I'm like, yeah, like she says that, but whatever. Still, like, I don't know. I know I'm talented. I know I can make music. I know I have supporters. Blah blah blah. Like, I know all these things that I could hear 1,000 times, but it doesn't matter if I'm not happy, right?
Yeah.
And then I look at my email, like random, like. I just looked at my email and searched, like, I don't know, even after looking at all these songs, like that the bag that I was in and like just how I kind of operate is like, I'm still gonna work. Like, even if I'm listening to all those songs, you know, and I know you know how that goes, bro, because you be making shit too, you know. So it's like, you can listen to all of them, they're all gonna be trash. You're an artist at heart, so you're gonna think yourself, if I hear something else and I'm inspired, I might make the best song ever.
Yeah.
Even if you're not thinking that, you know. So I hadn't made anything I was happy with. I think I had cut a couple demos that night, you know, and like that's what got me in the whole thing anyway. But so after I get off the phone with her, I'm like just sitting there. I think I went and made some food, like got my mind off of it, smoked a blunt. I was cool. But then came back upstairs, and after I had smoked too, I was feeling like a little bit inspired. You know, I just cooked a good meal and everything like that. So I was in like a little bit of a different pocket, and I had Logic's was still pulled up on my computer. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to go through my email and see if there's any beats I haven't listened to yet, you know? And I go and I search from one of my homies. His name's Chase Millie. Shout out to Chase. He's a really good producer. He's from Atlanta. And he's someone who I connected with a few years ago in a session just in LA. And he's like, he makes fucking super cool beats, and he always has understood my sound, and like he just randomly will send packs just all the time. So I searched his name in my email because I knew that when he sent beats, he always sent like 15 at a time. And I realized there was like a folder that I hadn't opened yet. Like it was like all these read emails, and then I see one in bold, which means obviously unread. So I was like, I'm just gonna see what's in here. The first beat that was in that email was the Beside Myself beat, the first one. And the moment I heard it, I was like, oh my god, let's like what? And I didn't even listen to it full. I just listened like 5 seconds. I was like, this is it. Like,
Hell
let's go.
Yeah.
And I felt that. Like I felt it in my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. Like loaded it up. And then I didn't write it. Like I didn't write that song. Like that was the first song that transitioned me in being able to take the humming melodies in my head without laying them down and just kind of like turn the mic on and just go.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm not saying that I just freestyle. So like the people who are gonna be like, oh, he freestyled the whole song. Like no, I didn't just one finish. Take fucking you know Jake. Just, I didn't do that like at all. But like the Beside Myself line was the very first thing that came to my head, and I did it. And really, that's kind of where it came. Is like now we get to the breakdown part. Is like that song was like literally like the rebirth like of me realizing that like you only have yourself. If you're not good in yourself, you're not going to be good. Like you're not, the people around you aren't going to be good. The people you want around you aren't going to want to be around you because they can tell that, you know. And even if they don't like have that thought, they know that there's energy in them that's pulling them away the same way that the energy pulls you away from the people that you're not supposed to be around, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I just like with that whole song is like, I know you asked for like a lyric breakdown, but like the whole song I think would just have to be like the breakdown almost. Totally. Like, and I know that when you listen to it, you know, you kind of can get that from it already, you know, but like just I wanted to provide the story behind it, you know, like to dig a little bit deeper. And that's ultimately like with the whole Caterpillar project, like that was like a whole thing. That was like a whole realizing that, you know, and it's not even done yet. And that's the thing is like 2020 was weird. I'm going to be dropping another project before I complete it, but like Caterpillar is going to be part of like a whole thing, you know. Obviously it's just that, you know, it can kind of go without saying, I'm not going to do it like line for line like how you would think, but it's the start of something, you know. And that was like a rebirth kind of, and that was something that I had to go through. I had never broken down like that before. I'd always been the dude who's can't, you know, I'm so blessed about the day and blah blah blah. Like I was just, you know, just this person that was just going, and then I really, for some reason, just didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
And that really caused like, and I know the way that I told that, it's almost, I know it's sounding like I made the breakthrough just like within like 10 minutes when I made that food, but it wasn't even like that. Like, it's not like once I did that song Beside Myself. Yeah, exactly. Like when I did that song, like, I'm gonna be honest, I still didn't fuck with it. Yeah. Like I knew though, like I knew that I was like, okay, I don't really fuck with this, but this is something like because everyone I sent it to, I think it was like my brother, couple friends, my uncle or something, they were like, yo, when did you make this? And then I was like, yeah, I just like freestyled that, you know, like I just like made that in like an hour. Like I normally take like a pretty long time to make my songs, and that was also one that kind of just went, you know. And a lot of the vocals in that were like the first couple takes, you know. And like
that's crazy.
Yeah, so
but it's just good to like hear those things, especially like anybody watching, because like you forget that people go through these now, like these areas of life, especially with like social media and stuff. So it's just good to talk about this stuff out loud and like have it on video and for other people to hear that, because somebody might be going through that literally as where they're watching this and be like, oh, I can get out of it. That's the beautiful part of it.
And when you don't go through those, like let's say
means you care also. Probably reminded you really care about music.
Oh, it did, because, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no.
Nah, that was the other thing actually, is that, You know, and what's funny is like one of my favorite books is I always fuck up the title. It's The War of Art, not The Art of War. You know, that's a whole different. The War of Art, right? By Stephen Pressfield. So what he says a lot in it is like, he's like, yo, if you're an artist and you're not questioning that you're an artist, then you're not an artist. And I don't mean to like live by something so simple like that, being like, oh, I questioned it, that means that I'm like the next motherfucking, you know, like,
yeah, but you know inside when like
you do. And that's the
like
thing is that like, you know, that was like also another thing is that I've read that book like 3 times. So that was when I made Beside Myself, was like that time was when I was like, I'm gonna reread this book, because it really had gotten me out of like things before, and just reminded me of a bunch of stuff. But yeah, damn, I went on such a tangent. I don't really remember what you just said.
Oh no, dude, it was the lyric deep dive, and you did exactly that. That was fucking fire.
Did a fucking pencil.
Yeah. No, that's what we want, man. Especially because like you hear a song, and even if you feel the emotion in it and stuff, there's so much that goes into this music thing. Like,
oh yeah,
there's just so many layers to it, and like it expands on your whole life. The idea that you use Caterpillar and that you talk about like everything we talked about this last hour.
Yeah.
Just being like, literally everything you experience is ammo for what you create in art, whether it be music, whether it be visuals,
or anything, not even just art.
Yeah,
just anything.
Yeah,
you know, like you have to channel that. Though.
Yeah,
like, because that's, I don't know, that's all we have as people. All we have is our experiences. When we die, we don't know what happens fully. Like we kind of do. There's the people who say that they've died and come back, but like that doesn't really do us any good, because they came back, you know? So it's like we're not too sure. But like we can't take anything with us. No. But we are conscious, and we're kind of like what you were saying, like we're able to like feel these things. Like we're conscious. Like there's so many beings that don't even, their whole life is to eat and reproduce. Yeah, that's their whole life. And that's what, like, isn't that like almost every other animal besides us?
Yeah, I mean,
or most animals. I don't really fucking know, but you know, like we're humans. You know, like we built this shit. You look around, like I don't know. It's crazy.
No, just to be conscious that you exist, like to be like, wait, what? Fucking what? Like this is real. Like, yeah.
My favorite quote is like. Something about, it's my favorite, but I forget it. It's something about like to be in this life isn't just to exist, it's to live. Like don't just exist, but live it.
Yeah, because anyone can exist.
Like, you know.
And a lot of people just exist. And then they're sad, and they wonder why they're sad, and it's because they're just existing.
Right, and it's not always that easy too. Like,
no, of course.
Sometimes, you know, like I kind of had to learn that too. Is that like my whole thing is that I was like, I don't want to work a job. And when you tell certain people that, and they're working their fucking ass off, and then they see you not, they're like, fuck you. Like you don't do shit.
Why are you so special?
Yeah, why are you special? You don't work. And it's like, you don't know about the EBT that I'm on, or you don't know about this. You don't know that I don't spend shit. You don't know I haven't gone out to eat, and you like, you know what I'm saying? Like you are more worried about living in your fucking skyrise apartment, and then that you're only going to be there for 2 hours out of the day awake, you know, like, you know, just things like that, where it's like,
it's different kind of work too. Like it's a lot of different kind. There's emotional work. There's, you know, you don't see your friends as much because you have to do more technical work because you're not getting a steady salary. Like,
right. And
yeah, but it's also, you don't feel like it's work, so you love it. Like, whereas they know they're going to their 9 to 5 and they're happy, so it's work.
And we need that. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not gonna be someone who's like ever suggesting people don't do that, because that's one thing I learned too, is that we, you know, the society we live in, like we don't live off like the land. You know what I'm saying? Like we live off of the things that are created for us. When a lot of people are hungry, we get it. How are we getting it? Well, someone cooked it, and then before that, someone packaged it, and before that, someone got it. And, you know, like there's like all these processes that happen, and everything is essential. But I think it also is about figuring out what is you're passionate about? Because if you're passionate about anything, you'll find it. Like if you like how buildings are, then maybe you should try to be an architect or something. Like if you like how plants are, then try to be like a botanist. Like like, you know, or try to be someone who's like, if you like food, like cook. Like you know, like I don't know. There's so many different.
And when you're in that, like everybody has their own lane. Like there doesn't need
everybody.
to be competition. So it's like you're put on this earth to find your passion, to make it your. I forget the word I'm trying to say, but to make it your career. Yeah. Your purpose. So everyone has a lane.
I love it.
Beautiful. All right.
Oh yeah.
Well, just to wrap things up, is there some future things we could look forward to? I know you kind of already said you're working on a project, and then where we can find you, like what your handles are for everybody back home, so they can follow you and listen to you.
Yeah. So I have a lot of stuff coming up. I'm gonna be putting some videos out. I'm gonna be putting some singles out, and this is probably all before anything about a project. So this is probably to end the year, as there's gonna be a couple like things to come out. But then you'll see I'm definitely gonna start, like once I start going for the project, it's gonna be like I'm gonna be going really hard, you know, and just I don't know. That's kind of how I move. Is I just release as I make stuff and how I'm feeling it, whatever I'm feeling, you know, at the moment. So there's always stuff coming. Like I'm trying to stay as consistent as I can. Yeah. Hopefully by like mid next year or something, we'll be able to do shows, and I could start traveling and touring and trying to, you know, spread the word in person and not just internet. But other than that, a lot of things coming as always. You can find me on everywhere at Max for the people.
Max number 4, the people.
You got it.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much. We love you.
Love you guys too. Appreciate it. This was dope. Yeah. These conversations help, you know, they help even navigate things for the future, and it's cool to look back on certain memories and stuff.
You can look back at this in a year and notice where you were. So
yeah, exactly.
And this is what literally we have these conversations every time we're hanging out. So this isn't even like we forced this. Like we had a photo shoot the other day, and
just normal shit.
An hour of that photo shoot was just chatting about life. So
same shit.
That's what we love, and that's what I feel like people need to hear that shit. So yeah, thank you so much, man.
We'll see you guys next week.
I'm Pseudo.
I'm
Angelica.
And this is Space Talk.